So Lincoln Riley, of course, is off to USC, but let's not dwell on that this episode. OU's got a lot of good potential candidates here. So let's draft the hires that we think would do the best at Oklahoma among those that have kind of been thrown out as potential candidates. So
Sure.
maybe we're more realistic than others, but Ryan, you've got the
Yep.
first. Who's your favorite candidate?
I'm going to take your favorite, Michael. I'm sorry to do it, but I'm taking the Lane train.
Oh, I love
Taking
it. That
Lane
was my number
Kiffin.
one. Number one on my
Of
board.
course. I know. I knew I'd take it from you. Yeah, Lane Kiffin, dude. How can you not think he would do a wonderful job there? A great offensive mind, which would keep with the tradition here of OU being a great offensive school. And then he's just what he's done at FAU, what he's done there at Ole Miss, first 10-win season in program history. I mean, come on. He'd recruit well. Great hire.
Yeah, I don't think he would be that much of a downgrade from Lincoln Riley potentially. So, he's of course a controversial guy to hire, very polarizing. Who knows if they would actually do that? But I agree with you. He'd be my number one pick. Number two, doesn't seem like this is going to happen from everything I've read, but who knows with this coaching carousel? Bob Stoops, of course, the
Yep.
interim head coach and former Oklahoma coach. There's just a lot of turmoil right now with Lincoln Riley leaving, a lot of recruits decommitting, both from this upcoming class and 2023. OU is about to head to the SEC, so the timing of this is, of course, not great. But Bob Stoops would he could come in for a few years and just kind of steady the ship. He would do a great job in recruiting. I'm sure he could bring in some great coordinators and just kind of run it back. He still was doing a very good job when he decided to take that kind of early retirement. Maybe he'd want to come back for a few years.
All right, I'm going to go with Josh Heupel, the current Tennessee head coach, and he was, of course, the national championship winning quarterback there at Oklahoma. We know that he could come in and run a great offense, and I was actually a little impressed with how he handled the Tennessee job this year because everyone kind of left Tennessee for dead, and he had them playing pretty dang well, especially once they put Hendon Hooker in there. So there's no reason to think he couldn't have some offensive success, and hasn't been an issue for Oklahoma, and he could just if he could get a decent defensive coordinator alongside, no reason to think that they couldn't have some continued success.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd be a little underwhelmed with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But of course, he didn't leave OU the first time under the best circumstances. But you're right. He did have a good year at Tennessee this year. So you could do worse.
All right. My second pick and pick number 4 overall. I'm going to go with Dave Aranda. I think with the job that he did here at Baylor this past year, it's been awesome, leading them to the Big 12 title game, going to a conference foe, but kind of not because it just would be for like maybe 1 year. So it wouldn't be that crazy. So yeah, I think he's done a great job. I think he knows, obviously they're going into the SEC. He's has SEC experience. I think he might be able to bring Jeff Grimes along with him, the offensive coordinator there from Baylor, who's done a great job as well. So I think that's a great duo. And hey, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be a great situation there for Aranda.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good hire. There was, of course, that report last week, I think, that he was going to commit to Baylor and sign an extension, but I haven't heard anything since then. So we'll, assume that he's still an option. My next pick, I'm going with Matt Campbell, of course, the current Iowa State head coach. There's been a lot of talk that this is kind of the offseason that he might want to go take another gig. And the one thing I worry about with him is just a little bit of the unknown of recruiting, especially recruiting in the SEC. Would he be, the type of guy to really take that head on? Maybe. I know players love him. He did a great job coaching at Iowa State and developing that roster and having some of the best years Iowa State's ever had. So there's a lot of good with him. It's just that recruiting question mark, but would be a fine hire.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go with one that's been mentioned, might be a little difficult, but Matt Rhule is the current Carolina Panthers head coach. Obviously, he's also being mentioned for Notre Dame if he were to come back to the college route. But
wait a sec. We're drafting the best hires. You've got Matt Rhule behind Josh Heupel. maybe you're talking a little more most likely.
I'm thinking I'm kind of doing a blend of the two. Yes, but no, you could like Matt Rhule. Right. It's not working out right now as we sit here with the Panthers, and he obviously had success at Baylor, but Oklahoma is a different beast. But I mean, he would bring credibility to the room. He's had previous success in the current Big 12, and I think he might want to take on the challenge of taking Oklahoma to the SEC. But I think he would be a very good hire that I would be happy with if I was an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah, I think I could get around that or support that if I was OU. All right, my third pick here, final one. I'm gonna go with Hugh Freeze. I'm high on Hugh Freeze. Love me. I love me some Freeze, man. I mean, he did a good job at Ole Miss, other than the sanction part and the not so good part. But hey, wins are wins, and I think OU appreciates wins. He did a great job here at Liberty in the past few years. Really got them into one of the best kind of G5 independent type programs out there. So, he's going to recruit his butt off. He knows what it takes to win at the highest level. And I think he would kind of relish the second opportunity at the highest level. I think he would make good on it.
I think there's no question he would be interested. That's for sure. And I do agree. I think he would do a really good job.
Yeah, I think he'd do great.
It would be crazy. It would be nuts if that actually happened. But let's see. My final pick here. I'm going with the guy who there was some Twitter rumors that was getting the job. We'll see if that ends up being true. But Brent Venables, Clemson defensive coordinator. He's been at Oklahoma before, so of course he knows the area, and he's been in the running, or at least his name is always on the list of candidates for every job opening that comes up. Although it kind of seems like they're not even listing him anymore.
Yeah, it kind of faded
for a lot of these jobs because it just didn't seem like he was ever going to leave, and maybe he won't. But he's one of the best. He's probably the best defensive coordinator in the country. Players love him. He would be a fine hire. I always prefer to get a proven head coach if I'm a blue blood program. But hey, Bob Stoops wasn't a proven head coach, and he worked out pretty well. So you could definitely do a lot worse than Venables.
Yep. I'm going to go. We're getting kind of thin here. So,
by the way, Lincoln Riley also wasn't a proven head coach. So anyway,
true.
Continue that.
Getting down into the weeds, there's a few names out there. I don't think really a couple are reasonable, but I don't love this, but I'm going to say Shane Beamer. He was at Oklahoma previously under Lincoln Riley, and it was a little underwhelming, the hire at South Carolina, but to his credit, he did a very good job in year one. South Carolina was left for dead, and they did very well this year. I think they overachieved. So he's obviously got the pedigree with his dad. He's been under some great coaches, not just at Oklahoma, but in other stints. So I do think that he could have success there, especially at a place like Oklahoma, but he wouldn't be maybe at the top of my list.
Fair. Okay, well, if you are an Oklahoma fan or just a general college football fan, let us know in the comments below who you think Oklahoma should hire and maybe who you think they're most likely going to hire. Hopefully we can get this episode up before they actually make a choice, because this carousel is spinning very quickly. But thanks for watching this episode, and be sure to subscribe, because when that hire does happen, I'm sure we will have an episode to discuss that. So thanks a lot. See you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.